What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. So please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there. You know, that's how you get our content, and we appreciate your support in getting us this far. Now, today, we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by a true icon in the game and in life, D.M.C. Thank you for coming through, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Always great to catch up with you. It's been a long time. And I know of the many things you have going on right now is the Road Recovery Organization, and it's celebrating its 25th anniversary, and you're on the board. So let's get some of the fundamental stuff in case people aren't familiar with it. How and why did you want to get involved with Road Recovery Organization?
Well, they actually came to me. Gene Bowen, the guy that runs it, he saw my book, 10 Ways Not to Commit Suicide. So he saw that I had all the credentials to be a representative for what he was trying to do. And basically what they try to do is they try to heal and also assist young people from various addictions to trauma by using music. So he basically has been doing this for 25 years. And everybody from Metallica to Pearl Jam to the biggest people in music has supported them. And what's good about them, they're not on some celebrity thing. It's about people that have been through stuff and been able to overcome stuff. So what's cool is it's like, Tom Petty, rest in peace, would show up at a session with the kids and just sit there and compose music. So basically, Gene found my book and reached out to me and said, would you come and help kids heal? And a lot of the kids have substance abuse problems. So I was able to go to rehab and to therapy. But I think what's important with the kids, they get to express themselves. Like the kid that might not want to get on a mic might write the song and produce the beat, and then be able to sit there and hear what he thought of manifest to the world. It has a lot of powerful healing attributes.
Absolutely. And throughout your journey, a lot of which has now been documented through books and some of the TV shows you've done, as you look back and as it gets to road recovery in particular, how, when, and why, through your awakening personally, especially, did you realize or understand the power of dealing with it and talking about it?
No, not at all. But what I realized is this. I was very good at telling people how happy I am. And it has an inspirational, motivational effect that's very transformative. But I realized I'm even 10 times more powerful when I talk about when I'm struggling, when I'm not doing so good, because everybody's going through something. So what would happen when I got out of rehab, people approached me as DMC, the mighty DMC, the king of rock who walked this way in his Adidas to tell people how tricky life could be, right? They love that. First to go gold, first to go platinum, first to the cover Rolling Stone, just everything that was dominating and powerful about Run-DMC. But when I got out of rehab, this is funny, they approached me because Run had 10 successful seasons of Run's House. And all the people said when they saw the first season, they know DMC showing up at the end and it's going to be a finale, but I didn't show up. So they let it pass. Second season, I know DMC shows. So by the third season, they thinking like they thinking on social media. Yo, why the hell DMC ain't on Run's House? They beefing this and that, whatever. So when they see me, they coming at me like that. And the reason why, it's funny too, Soren, the reason I wrote the book was to answer this question. Why you ain't on Run's House?
Really? That's the reason?
Yeah, because I would get that everywhere. So people would angrily, yo, what's up with you and Run? Whatever. And I would just say, yo, well, the reason why I wasn't on Run House for the past 10 of his seasons, I was an alcoholic, suicidal, metaphysical, spiritual wreck who was trying to figure out how to kill himself. And when I would say that, all that special celebrity Run-DMC stuff would leave, and they would look at me and go, and this what hurt me. I've never told this Run-DMC. I've never told anybody this, but they're only telling me because number one, I'm DMC, the most powerful entity in history, and I just confessed something to them. So that takes them by surprise. They go, I've never told anybody this, DMC. Me too. I'm or this is what really killed me. I've never told anybody this, DMC. My mother, my sister, my brother, my aunt, my friend. So all of these people were struggling, or know people that's struggling. They're so worried about what the world's going to think about them. They think it's weak. They think it's soft. They think it's a sucker. So they say, I've never told anybody this, DMC. And then we would stand there and have a conversation about being fucked up. Mm. And they would go, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go to therapy. Maybe I'm going to go take my daughter in that. Oh, now you're going to take it after 10 years of watching Run, and your daughter's meth out on meth. You're ashamed to tell somebody, not because of your daughter. You're worried about how the world going to think about you for knowing somebody like that. So for me, I realized when I was alcohol. They say, DMC, you talk so lighthearted and happy about it, but that's the powerful thing. So I realized that Christmas time in Hollis, Queens, King of Rock, my Adidas, all of that was good, but I even have a greater effect on people's lives. When I say, yo, I was in rehab, yo, when I was suicidal, yo, I was drinking a case of 40s a day. Because the problem is, especially in the Black community, but in all communities, the Italian community, the Jamaican community, harmful, destructive behaviors are celebrated in our communities. So for people that are struggling, thinking what they're going through is a weakness, or I gotta be strong, I can't let nobody know that I'm vulnerable, I put a power to that. Basically, I make not being okay understandably cool. Because you can't, like, people is weird, people are funny. You don't get mad when somebody says, I got a toothache, I'm going to the dentist. No, yo, my back hurts, I'm going to chiropractor. In second grade, the teacher noticed I was squinting. So when my mother came to pick me up, I think Daryl needs some glasses. But if somebody's acting a certain way, yo, he don't seem right today, this and that. The stigma of don't say nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? I removed that. I'm like, yo, if I could tell you I'm going to the eye doctor, I'm going to see my psychiatrist today. There's something going on, you know what I'm saying? So I think with me, the way I spoke about it in my 10 ways not to commit suicide, because you don't have to, it makes it like, oh, shoot, if DMC could do it, then maybe I can go get help.
Yeah, I mean, it's very powerful, like you said, especially because when people hear something from someone they don't expect, like you're saying, it throws them off.
Big time, like what?
But then the power of the healing aspect of what you're saying is a whole other layer of power. It's not like they found out you like tennis or something they didn't know. It's like, no, I like, I have these serious issues.
Exactly. And creatively, it's funny, once I got into therapy, my therapist always said, I found out I was adopted when I was 35. And right when that happened, Jam Master Jay got killed. So I had a multitude of stuff that I was dealing with. But when my therapist took me back, because you got to go back. What was it like when you was a kid? I had the best parents ever, this and that. She said, okay, if I listened to your records, I could tell your childhood was perfect. Son of Byford, brother of Al, Banner's my mother, run. It's McDaniel. I was so proud of my family. It's McDaniels, not McDonald's. These rhymes are Daryl's, those bro. I ran down my family tree. I ain't rhyming about my jewelry and my money in the bank. I'm rhyming about my mom and dad and Christmas and stuff like that. So she said, your whole life, through your struggle that didn't have a chance to manifest till you got older. She said, you was proclaiming, she said, all of your rhymes start with your soul and your being proclaiming you're somebody. I'm DMC in the place to be. I am the king of rock. I am the son of Byford. I am the mic. So she said, as long as she was doing that, it was good. But it wasn't until after Down with the King, 1993, where, you know, Run-DMC's career had slowed down a little bit. Jay started JMJ Records. Run started this Reverend Run thing. So even though Pete Rock did for Run-DMC, what Run-DMC actually did for Aerosmith, Pete Rock brought us back. They did a remake of one of our records and came and did it with us. So when that happened, 1993, we opening for Naughty, we opening for Tribe, we opening for Limp Bizkit, we opening for Marilyn Manson. Down with the King videos, killing again. I had the best rhyme of the year. If the G-O-D-B-M-E, then the King out and all of that. The next day I go, there's gotta be life, something more to life to this. So my trauma was the only thing that was new for me to deal with, because I had already did the MTV thing. Now we're back. The paydays is bigger. The depression came along because I sat there and said, there's gotta be something more than Run-DMC for me, because Run and Jay had their other things. So all I had was the trauma. Then I got depressed. I questioned that depression. Then I found out I was adopted. That took me to a whole nother space. And I had pancreatitis from drinking all the 40s. And when I found out that I was adopted, I didn't know how to deal with that. So I didn't know, even on DMC, there's so many things you could do. It wasn't that I was ignorant. I didn't know, because I was never in that situation. So what did I do? I turned back to the thing that was going to kill me, which was alcohol. Started self-medicating. But then when I got into rehab and sat there and, yeah, I'm adopted, I'm a foster kid. Then I got to find my birth mother and heal the trauma. But when that happened with Down with the King, when I realized that there's more to DMC, there's more than the DMC's story, because there's more than Daryl, I had never dealt with that artistically. You know what I'm saying? Crashed through walls, I became a superhero on the mic, all of that. So I was helped. So Road Recovery puts the kids in a creative situation so they're not afraid to talk about being abused sexually. They're not afraid to talk about their mothers getting beat up by their fathers. We put it in a place where it's cool to talk about being fucked up. Because the world loves people. I feel like $1 million today. Oh, I love them. I can take on the, yes, we love you. I'm depressed. Get away from me, weirdo.
Right.
See, well, that's why stigma exists.
Well, that's the interesting thing, as I was thinking about being able to talk to you again, is because, of course, you guys had singles before the Run-DMC, the self-titled debut album came out, but the first song on there is Hard Times, of course, covering the Curtis Blow or redoing whatever.
Yeah, we flipped it.
But the question is, I always thought that was interesting because I knew the singles and listened to them, of course. But when I heard the album, I was like, oh, this is going to be a different thing. So looking back or even reflecting on it, do you remember how and why, A, you wanted to cover the Curtis Blow song, and B, why you put it first? Because it wasn't what you guys were known for at that time.
Right. Well, great question. Me sitting home when hip hop came to me, guess what happened to me? The boys and girls from the Bronx who had nothing. The Bronx they had nothing. They created this thing called hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So I'm studying these tapes, the live performances, but then I'm learning about this situation. I went to Catholic school my whole life. Every school I went for, my mother and father paid for me to go to. I had both parents in the house. My father had elected 225. So I heard these kids, we had gangs in New York, but I had a backyard. farther mowed the lawn. These kids were living in burnt out tenements, and they were rhyming about good things. Go to up in the morning, go to school. They were rhyming, warning the things that they didn't have. And they wasn't saying, join the gang, shoot. They were saying, don't do that. And I was like, wow. So when Run put me in Run-DMC, I realized that, okay, the message came out, which was the truth. And then Planet Rock came out, which was the vision. Yeah, it's broken glass everywhere. But Planet Rock was, we know a place. We can turn the message world into a place where everybody's eating, nobody's fighting, and all of that. So when Run brought me to Larry Smith, I say, let's combine the message, the good and the bad. People are both things. A lot of music has the tendency to only deal with one side of the coin. Because hip hop was black ghetto music. But I was like, even in the dirt poor ghetto where there's death, darkness, and destruction, the kids play hopscotch, they jump rope, they play tag. Why ain't nobody rhyming about those things?
And they're smiling, and they're smiling while doing it.
Smiling while doing it. So we did It's Like That, and then we did Sucker MCs, and it was Russell's idea to do Hard Times because he was on the message record momentum thing. But it's funny that Hard Times was so relevant that during COVID, everybody would DM me and hit me. Hard Times need to drop right now because it opens up with what's going on. The government, the political and the racial, George Floyd, all this shit. And he had COVID. They said Hard Times spreading just like the flu. What they was like, wow. So, I mean, even when we got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2009, they called me over, DMC, don't you know you guys were prophetic? I was like, what are you talking about? You guys did a video with Larry Bud Melman from the David Letterman show at the front door of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum saying, y'all hip hop guys can't come in here. And I was like, yeah, what's the big deal? First of all, Gene Simmons don't want y'all in here, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame didn't start till '86. So it was this prophetic, and I don't even think it's prophetic. I think it's, we said we wasn't a group like KRS-One and Public Enemy, but so many journalists and people who study hip hop refused to differ. He said, y'all did Hard Times. Y'all did It's Like That. So we were a socially conscious group, but we did it in a universal way where good and bad was accepted as of something to look at and create the solution.
Also, let's not forget You're Blind. It's Not Funny. There's other records.
See, yeah. But that mode comes from Grandmaster Flash and Furry 5, The Message, which is a mental health record song. You know, I'm also on the board and a member of Hip Hop Public Health, started by Dr. Dr. Williams. He started this thing where he's using hip hop to teach people health. The mental, it's like a jungle times. It makes me want. So everybody was in a traumatic state. So we would do a Hard Times, but then we would do a fun record right after that. So you get both simultaneously. So children and people, man, I didn't become a rapper DJ, but just listening to Run-DMC made me become a doctor. It made you want to do something to change your situation. You know what I'm saying?
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
A 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Your MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
There's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The history of gangster rap in stores now.